Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. Happy Canada Day to everybody. Good to have you guys here. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, good morning. I always get mixed up.
What time of day is it? Jonathan Boyko's here.
Hey, everybody.
Paris Rose is joining us today.
Hello. I'm excited.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, if you've got a live comment or question you'd like to ask and have us address on the show, go ahead and use our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And as long as your question is appropriate for us to address on the show, we'll address it. And by the way, the good thing about this tip link is, let's say you're one of the 90% of the people who aren't here to watch as we do the show live, but you have a topic or question you'd like us to address, you can send in a topic or question anytime, 24/7, using this tip link. And if we're not live when you send it in, we'll just get around to answering it, if it's appropriate, on the next episode. All right, guys, with that all down, let's get things started here, shall we? Paris, what is our first topic today?
All right, well, as most of you know, a number of weeks ago, Ryan Reynolds released the first look at the Wolverine version of the Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket. Well, this weekend, images leaked of the Deadpool version of the popcorn bucket. This one wasn't as suggestive as the Wolverine one, but pretty R-rated nonetheless, as patrons get to eat popcorn out of a gaping bullet hole in the side of Deadpool's head. So, John, what do you think about the new Deadpool popcorn bucket?
I told everybody that when they released that Wolverine one, I said, I got a feeling, I didn't know, I was just guessing, that they were going to at some point put out a Deadpool one. Now, look, it needs to be said before we say anything else, that Disney has not confirmed, Ryan Reynolds is not confirmed, and Hugh Jackman is not confirmed that this is official, but outlets like comicbookmovie.com or whatever are writing out about it. All right, what's really neat about this, if you take a look at it here, is yes, you get the big gaping hole in the side that you see some popcorn in there, and then a smaller hole in the neck for you to place a drink. Now, here's what I think, though. I don't think that hole in the head is meant for holding popcorn. I think instead, you got an image of this one, John?
Yeah.
I think instead,
Here we go.
What it is they've also got what they're calling a more family-friendly popcorn bucket. But if you look at this bucket and the size of it, and then you look at the hole in the head of Deadpool, I think that bucket is meant to sit inside the hole. I think, because that doesn't look like you can put a lot of popcorn in that hole, but it looks perfectly shaped to hold the other popcorn bucket. So I guess, number one, we haven't had any official confirmation that this is official merchandising. I think it is. We will find out. Number two, I think the hole in the head is not meant to hold the popcorn itself, but rather hold the popcorn bucket. And that would just make more sense. And then if that's the case, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this will be the first novelty popcorn bucket that holds both popcorn and a soda can. So
at least if this is through AMC, I don't remember any other ones that are doing that.
Well, no. I believe there was an R2D2 one. But it wasn't sold.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, there was like a straw coming out of his head, and then inside there was like a
hole.
that
Yeah,
was
and then you could,
iconic.
yeah.
I think they released that for the episode 1 anniversary. It was only a limited time. The only place I saw it was on their website. I didn't see it inside the theater, so I don't know if you can really count that as an in-theater.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think we can. So, and now I thought I heard that if this one's real, it might be a Regal exclusive. Not sure about that. I mean, I got to admit, I think this is perfect. A big gaping hole in his head. That's perfect. Now, it's not sexually suggestive, like the Wolverine one with the cum butter coming down his face into his mouth. I mean, that video Ryan Reynolds put out was just so perfect. But if this is indeed real, I'm buying myself one. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this supposed Deadpool version of a Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket? I quite like it, although even though I really love it and I'll probably get it, I still think I prefer the Wolverine one. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, Let's move on to our next issue here, shall we, Paris? What do we got up next?
All right, well, the world of physical media got a little bleaker this week as Chicken Soup for the Soul, the company that owns the popular physical media rental kiosk business, Redbox, has filed for bankruptcy. According to Deadline, it has been in financial distress over the past year in the wake of bringing aboard Redbox in a debt-heavy 2022 deal valued at $375 million. So in an SEC filing earlier this month, the company said its net losses widened to $636.6 million in 2023
Yikes.
from $111.2 million in the prior year. So John, is this the final blow to physical media?
That's a huge debt. That you're literally in 1 year, you had double the debt of what you paid for Redbox in the first place. And now it should be pointed out here that, of course, Chicken Soup for the Soul is more than just Redbox. But for our purposes here, that's the main thing we're going to be focused on. Do I think that this is the final nail in the coffin for physical media? I don't. But it is a heavy blow. I mean, that's kind of become the final bashing. Because remember, Best Buy has announced that they are going to be phasing out physical media discs out of their stores. Walmart has announced that they're eventually going to be phasing out physical media discs in their stores. But there's always been the Redbox. I know in the grocery store me and Ann go to, there's still a Redbox there. And once in a while, we'll actually see somebody taking a movie out, but not often. It was kind of the last survivor's island in a zombie apocalypse of physical media, and it's now going under the water. Now, what is even, I think, a bigger body blow to physical media is this other report came out just today that Sony is now reportedly gradually going to be stopping production of Blu-ray discs altogether. Their highlight points that said Sony will reportedly be making massive cuts to its Blu-ray production via layoffs and manufacturing base. Eventually, according to the report, Sony plans to cease production altogether, signaling a dramatic end of physical media. All right, so look, this is a conversation that goes on a lot. And whenever it comes out, there's always two different things. Should physical media go away? And a lot of people have made some very good arguments about why it shouldn't go away. I mean, because if you buy a physical disc, you own it. It can't be changed. You've got it. It can have a higher bit rate, although that's been changing as higher and higher bit rates have been coming to stream. Still, you get higher bit rates, all that kind of stuff. But that's not the question. The question is not, should physical media go away? The question is it going away? And over and over and over again, it's being shown that, yeah, it's disappearing. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that said, there will be other smaller companies that will pick up production on these things. Physical media isn't going anywhere. To which I said, that's like saying record players aren't going anywhere. Sure, there are still record players around. Actually, I think Ann's got one in her office. There are still record players around. But as far as being a serious player in the world of entertainment,
no,
those days are gone. And that's what's come with physical media.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what are you going to say, Jonathan?
No, I was going to say, that's actually a good example because you can still get high-end turntables and whatever, but it's a niche market.
Yeah, it's a very small niche market.
So then I wonder, now will consoles like the next PS5s that come out, are they even going to bother making players for them?
Well, they're not. And Ray, weren't you pointing out that didn't they just announce that the next Xbox version is not going to have the disc player anymore?
Right?
Well, the next one they're releasing, I believe, like it's an update. It's just all digital, so they're headed that way. I mean, I haven't turned on my console in a long time. I'm just playing either on this TV or just online. You could even go on
and
a web
the Switch.
Browser. Yeah. Oh no. I'm playing the Switch. But yes. I believe it's going that way. Unfortunately, I still like buying discs, but only every once in a while, and it has to be one of those discs where I have to have a bunch of special features. That's the main reason why I buy discs. It's for that second disc.
Special features.
Because if there's enough beef there, it's hard to find those on YouTube. I know they post them on YouTube, but I just like that as a complete thing on one disc.
Paris, quick question. When is the last time, honestly, you bought a DVD or a Blu-ray?
It's been years. I mean, I think I would buy it for the nostalgia of it all.
That's a big part of it.
But actually are getting gifted it, but me actually purchasing a Blu-ray or DVD hasn't happened in years. And I don't plan on it.
Yeah, and I don't plan on it either. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Redbox appears to be going away. It was kind of like that one shining beacon still of the existence of physical media out there as a legitimate and relevant player in the world of home entertainment. What do you think about its disappearance? Is it the final blow? I don't think it is quite yet, but whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, that down. Let's move on to the next. I'm very excited about piece of news. Paris, what do we got up next?
I'm excited about this too. So ever since Ryan Reynolds was announced to be starring in a Highlander reboot all the way back in 2012, Highlander fans have been waiting for concrete news about a new film going into production, and now they have it. So according to CBR, the new film starring Man of Steel's Henry Cavill and being directed by John Wick's Chad Stahelski will officially be going into production in January of 2025. Stahelski said the following: "We start shooting in January in Scotland. That's why I go right after I leave. I go to Scotland on Monday to do the final location scout." So, John, how excited are you that the Highlander is going into production?
Hot damn! I'm so excited about this. You know what though? When you said that date, 2012, when Ryan Reynolds, for those of you who might forget, Ryan Reynolds was announced to be doing a Highlander reboot all the way back in 2012. When you said 2012, have you seen that meme of Matt Damon from what's the war movie he's in again? Steven Spielberg directed.
Saving
Private
Private
Ryan.
At the end where he's standing at the grave as a young man and then he ages into
Yeah.
an old. That's what I feel like when you say Ryan Reynolds in 2012 was doing this. Look, I have, if you watch the show, you know, Highlander is the one movie, the odd movie that's in my top 10 films of all time list, right? That's the one that's in my top 10 films of all time list. That, because all the other ones in my top 10, everybody goes, oh yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, that's a great one. But then I get to Highlander and people go, oh yeah, wait, what? Like Highlander? Damn right, Highlander. There can be only one. The Kurgan. You know, it's just, I love this movie so much. But as much as we've covered all the news about my boy Henry Cavill joining it, Chad directing it, all the great things you've been saying, I will admit, deep down in my true heart of hearts, I have not believed it was actually going to happen. I really haven't. I got all excited when Ryan Reynolds was going to do it, and it never happened. And you know what I felt like? I felt like all those years ago when Peter Jackson was going to produce a Halo movie. Remember that? That Neil Blomkamp was going to direct? And it never happened. I honestly, deep down, if you asked me in my true quietest moment of truth between me and God himself, I would have said, I don't actually think this is going to happen. But here it is. It's going to shoot. And my boy Henry. And what's really exciting too is that Chad wants to bring that John Wick action style to Highlander with swords. He said this. This is coming from CBR. Stahelski also commented on how this project will be different in many ways compared to the John Wick films, including a switch to focusing on sword fighting over gunfights. The director acknowledged how it will be a challenge to work with swords, particularly with regard to keeping the cast and crew safe on the set. He's also concerned about finding the right balance with the sword fighting and the other elements of the film. And if you guys remember a while ago, he confirmed that it's not just going to be one style of sword fighting. We are going to bring in every style of sword because the Immortals have been all over the globe for centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries. They're going to bring every sword style into focus. And that Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod, being played by Henry Cavill, will adopt all of the styles. Now, whether that's going to be because in the movie they say he's traveled around the world that much, or whether they say it's because of the quickening that happens every time he defeats another immortal, I don't know. But seeing a guy like Henry Cavill, like breaking out all the different styles is going to be amazing. And for this thing to actually start shooting, you know the word I made up, tangibilization. It's now real. It's a real thing. And I couldn't be more excited about it. Now, the one thing, Jonathan, you brought up, we were talking off camera before we started.
Mm-hmm.
What does all this mean for that Warhammer project? Yeah. That, because for those of you who don't know, Henry Cavill's got a massive fanboy heart on for Warhammer. He loves Warhammer, and he announced he was going to be doing it. He's super excited. But like, if he doesn't start shooting this until January 2025, you figure that takes him at least until maybe May of 2025. There hasn't really been any announcement of any movement on it. Do you think this Warhammer thing still happens?
I think it happens, but it's gonna end up way down the road. I mean, I just don't understand where the production schedule is gonna fit in with everything else. So, plus he's gonna be Bond. Plus he's gonna be James Bond. So,
Well,
you know.
by the way,
So matter of fact.
Yeah.
that has not been announced by anybody. Just don't,
me. I announced it. But
I don't
that's
want
it.
people. I can see the headline. John Campea show says Henry Cavill's
Yeah,
being
like,
cast as
wait,
James
we're
Bond.
scrambling right now.
I
Where's the
skipped
article
that
on
part.
that?
But for me, I'm absolutely, completely thrilled about this. I couldn't be happier. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? They're going to start shooting the new Highlander movie, which I'm absolutely giddy about, in January. Who wants to live forever? Yes, I can't wait.
Can I just say Muse needs to do the soundtrack for it?
Who?
If it can't be Queen, it should be Muse. Should be the
Muse.
soundtrack. Yeah.
That would be an interesting one. I was personally thinking it'd be really cool if Justin Bieber did the
Oh
soundtrack.
yeah.
For it. Yeah.
I'm your Highlander baby.
Oh, is that
Beep.
how Justin
Dang.
Bieber sound?
I don't know, I've
Beeps
never heard it
it
sing.
Up. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about all this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Beebs.
I do Lander.
You Highlander. All right, guys. With that all down, let's move on to our next issue here, shall we? Paris, what do we got up next?
All right. Well, as Hugh Jackman gets ready to retire as Wolverine again, chatter is heating up about who will take over the claws for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this weekend, sportscasting.com, which has compiled the latest betting odds for Jackman's successor, says Taron Egerton tops the list with plus 200 odds. Hot on his heels is Venom's Tom Hardy, followed by Suicide Squad's Scott Eastwood. Henry Cavill and Jeremy Allen White are tied for 4th place, rounding out the top 5 contenders for MCU's Wolverine role. John, what do you think of Taron Egerton as a Hugh Jackman replacement?
Not my first choice, but it's one of those choices that I'd be totally good with. You know, after seeing, what was the name of the one he just did with Paul Walter Hauser? Was that Blackbird? The prison?
I believe so, yeah.
Prison series? That, by the way, Paul Walter Hauser won an Emmy Award for. First of all, it has shown, because he was also in that Tetris series, right?
Yes.
Oh,
he
was
was
he? Okay.
so good in Tetris. And then I was late to the Blackbird one, but when I watch it, I was blown away by him. Like, he's more than just, what was his name in Kingsman? Eggsy?
Bexley.
Right. He is more than just that dude. And, you know, he gets himself in really great physical shape. He's an exceptional actor. He's a little bit, I mean, Taron's not exactly a short guy, but he's a lot closer to the Wolverine comic height than, say, 6'3" Hugh Jackman is.
Let me just add that I never thought of Scott Eastwood, but I really like that for some reason.
Well,
I
let's
really
talk
like
about that in a second.
I'm
Let's-
sorry, but it's just because that name had never popped up, and now that you said it, I'm like, yeah, why not?
Let's get to that in just a second. So Egerton comes in at the top thing. I always love it when the sports books start placing odds on movie world stuff. It's like my two universes colliding. It's a incursion, if you will, because, you know, I'm a big sports guy. But yeah, Sportscasting put out the odds. And here's what they got right now. They got Taron Egerton at plus 200. Now, for those of you who do not, good for you if you don't know the world of sports betting. But if you don't know the world of sports betting, plus 200 basically means if you bet $100, you will win $200. So they've got him at the best odds right now at a plus 200. Tom Hardy is at a plus 300. I don't know why my phone is ringing.
Mint Mobile, everybody.
Mint Mobile is at plus 300, which means if you bet $100 on him becoming it, you win $300. Next is Scott Eastwood at plus 500. My boy, Henry Cavill at plus 800. The Bears, Jeremy Allen White. I like this one. It's one I wouldn't have thought of, but when I saw him in Iron Claw, like that dude playing Wolverine, Emmy winner. Okay, Charlie Hunnam, again, from Sons of Anarchy. Not one I really thought about. Would be a great pick. Jamie Dornan from 50 Shades of Grey fame at plus 1,000. Then you get into some guys we've talked a lot about around here. Zac Efron, who is still kind of my first choice to play Wolverine, is all the way at plus 1,600. Daniel Radcliffe right now is put at plus 2,000. And Carl Urban at 33. I know there are a lot of people think Carl will be great, and I love Carl, but he is 52 years old already. Can he start? But if you feel like betting, you want to go down to Vegas, Put down $100 on Carl Urban being Wolverine. If he does get cast, you win $3,300. That's not bad. All right. So some of the names that stand out to me on this: Tom Hardy, great. But at 44, how old is Tom Hardy now? Can you double check that for me, Ray? I think he's in 43, 44, 45 range. Might be a.
He's 46.
He's 46.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, might be not too old to play Wolverine, but maybe a little too old to start playing Wolverine.
Yeah.
But he's right around that thing. Scott Eastwood is a really neat name. I'm with you, Ray. It's not a name that I would have thought about before, but as soon as they mentioned it, I went, well, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Scott would actually be really good.
Do we think does he carry the performance?
I think he could.
Okay.
I mean, he's definitely gotten better over years.
Does he have the charm? That's what I'm not sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know where he gets his charm from? He's got his dad's looks. Like when it's so funny. There's a lot of father and sons in Hollywood. They look at it, wow, he looks just like his dad. But I mean, seriously, when you look at Scott Eastwood and then put up an old picture of his dad, who is arguably one of the most handsome men in the history of Hollywood, he's got it. Yeah, there they are. I mean, he's got his dad's looks. I was looking at pictures of Scott with like a.
Here's a side by side of him younger, of his father younger. There you go.
Oh wow.
I mean, right? And
almost identical.
he's really developed the chops. So I like that. Again, not my first choice. I like that one. Obviously, I love Henry Cavill. Jeremy Allen White was another name that I did not think of until I saw it on the list. Now, you're a big Bear fan, but when we read off Jeremy Allen White, you instantly started shaking your head. You don't see him as Wolverine?
I don't see him, but then you're right. He was amazing in the Iron Claw, got into shape. He's that height. He's the perfect height, but I don't know. I'm so used to seeing giant Hugh Jackman now that I don't know if I want to see a smaller Jeremy Allen White.
That's the thing, though, right? Like, because we forget it's been almost 25 years that we, as the movie-going audience, have become accustomed to a 6'2", 6'3" Wolverine, right? And that was one of the biggest things people screamed about when they first hired this no-name song and dance Broadway guy to be Wolverine. It's like, he's totally the wrong height. He's like, Wolverine's supposed to be short. All true. But now it's hard to imagine somebody who's not a giant guy. So do they go with the shorter guy? And again, Zac Efron has always been my number one choice. I mean, he's clearly got the physicality for it. I think he is an exceptional actor. Daniel Radcliffe has become very popular. This kid has got jacked in the last number of years. Jonathan, I don't know if you can find an image, like see if you can find one of his images. But I remember
I got it saved here. Hey, hold on.
I first noticed it when I saw the Weird Al Yankovic movie that Daniel Radcliffe did, because there's a scene where he's pretending like he's Weird Al all drunk and he's got his shirt off, and it's like, when did Daniel Radcliffe start bodybuilding?
Well, this was actually from a different movie, but then I'll find the
yeah,
other
that's
one.
a Reese. Yeah, that's a Reese. Yeah, Harry Potter's like, come at me, Voldemort. Let's go. Like,
wow, I wasn't ready for this.
come on, tell me you don't see a little Wolverine in there.
Whoa, that's what she said.
I mean, listen, I don't know that there's any name on this list that I don't like. Like, again, not necessarily any of my number one choices. That's Zac Efron, but even Jamie Dornan, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
You know, I think even you did. Jeremy Allen White, Charlie Hunnam, Henry Cavill, Scott Eastwood. It's all pretty good, but right now the bookmakers are saying Taron Egerton is
He's our favorite, huh?
He's in the lead right now. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The sports books are saying Taron Egerton's in the lead, but there's a bunch of other names there as well. What would you think about him? Even if he wasn't your first choice, would you be good with it if they announced it tomorrow that he was going to be the new Wolverine? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, listen, we still got a bunch of things we need to talk about here today, including the possibility that Dune 3 and the new Star Wars movie are opening on the same day. According to a report from Jeff Snyder, Marvel has rejected the Russo brothers for directing the new Avengers films, and Inside Out 2, we knew it was coming, but has become the next billion-dollar film How big can it get? We're going to talk about all those things and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Mint Mobile. You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there is no way you can keep it to yourself. My last mobile service provider was quite good, but ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've enjoyed even better coverage, better phone clarity, and I'm paying less than a third of what I paid to my old provider. Say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bills to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions may apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And thank you to Mint Mobile for being my mobile service provider and for sponsoring the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that all down, let's get out to the next topic here, shall we? Paris, what do we got up next?
All right, well, according to a report in Gizmodo, Warner Brothers has set a release date for the next Denis Villeneuve event film, which many people will believe will be Dune 3 on December 18th, 2026. If this date sounds a bit familiar, it's because that is also the date that a new Star Wars movie is supposed to come out. John, is it possible that these two movies both come out on the same day, or will one move? And if so, which one moves?
Here's what just happened. Picture, if you will, a big table. Warner Brothers just came walking up to the table, unzipped its pants, and threw its giant Dune-sized wong on the table and said, "Here you go, Star Wars. What are you going to do about it?" This is ballsy. Now, look, the Mandalorian movie.
That's exactly what happened. That's how Hollywood works.
That's not how I pictured any of it.
It's the axe of Zaslav came unsheathed, and away they go. And because here's the thing. We all know that The Mandalorian is coming out. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is coming out in May of 2026. So this is probably that Rey movie, right? Coming in December. They haven't officially pegged it that, but we all know that's the Rey movie. In years gone by, when a new Star Wars movie was coming out, which, unless it was called Solo, was a guaranteed billion-dollar film, even The Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. Everybody would scurry like cockroaches when the lights turn on into the corners because nobody wanted to open up against a Star Wars film. Times change. Because right now, the best name in sci-fi is Dune. And I say this as a lifelong Star Wars fan, greatest films of all time, blah, blah, blah. But right now, the king of the hill is Dune. Dune 2, I believe, is the greatest motion picture in the last 10 years. And they're on a roll. And they decided, you know what? We're gonna strut. We're gonna do a Conor McGregor ridiculous looking swagger into the ring, take out the axe, and say, deal with it. And they slapped it down right on Star Wars' release date. Do I believe both of these movies can open up at the same time? No. This isn't a Barbenheimer situation. These are two films that are going, I'm not going to say 100% the same audience, but 90% of the same audience. Like Barbenheimer was, you're going to get your Barbie crowd going to Barbie, your Oppenheimer crowd going to Oppenheimer, and they're both going to hype up going to the movies this weekend. This is not that situation. I don't believe these can both open up at the same time. And as inconceivable in my best Vincini from The Princess Bride, as inconceivable as it sounds, Star Wars is going to blink. Star Wars is going to move. Now, they might try some negotiations, but here's the thing. They just announced this movie, which we assume is going to be Dune, because we've heard reports that Dune 3 will start production in mid-2025, which means that December 2026 would be a logical release. But just keep that in the back of your head, that it may not be Dune 3, but it's probably Dune 3. Star Wars had already announced December 18th, 2026. So Warner Brothers just announced this for December 18th, 2026, knowing a Star Wars movie is going to be there. You don't come out and announce your date when you already know the other movie's there and then change your mind and move. Now, I think there's going to be some negotiations between Disney and Warner Brothers on this. You know, they'll say, okay, one of us will move. We'll move, but you make sure this date in 2027 stays open for us to do something. They'll negotiate. They'll come to some kind of deal. But yeah, one of them's going to move, and it ain't going to be Dune, I don't think. I can't believe I'm saying that. In years past, that's a ridiculous notion to say that the Star Wars movie will be the one to move. But I believe the Star Wars movie will be the one to move if they even have a Star Wars movie ready to come out, because we spent the last 5 years talking about Star Wars movies that have never come to pass. Right?
Well, if they do keep the same date, who's coming out on top? Is it Dune 3?
It's Dune 3. Not by a lot either. Because again, even the worst Star Wars movies made $1 billion. I think Dune 3 will come out on top, not by a lot. But here's the thing. They are going to cannibalize each other's business. Like, look, Dune does not want Star Wars to stay on that date. They came sauntering into that date, you know, totally comfortable, but they only did it because they believe they can get Star Wars to move. And Star Wars doesn't want to come out on the same day that Dune is. They are going to cannibalize each other's box office because a lot of the people who are going to go to Dune 3 will also want to go see a new Star Wars movie and vice versa. So I think if they do come out on the same date, again, as inconceivable as it sounds, I think Dune 3 comes out on top, even if it's not by a lot. But I cannot see it happening. I really do think one of the moves, and I think it's Star Wars. I think it's... Now, Jonathan, you were saying beforehand, before the show started, you thought Dune will be the one that moves. You still think that?
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, because I honestly think it's kind of baked in. And I know if it's going to be Rey, that's going to be divisive. But if people like what they see in the marketing, it's going to be huge. I mean, Dune 2 came up with 711 million, which is great.
Especially considering the first one made 400.
Yeah.
So it took up like a 80% jump.
But Dune 3, this is not going to be the same tone as Dune 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm
like
actually
we've talked about,
Dune
people
3.
aren't going to like what happens in this. So it could have a great opening. It might actually beat... Okay, this is what I would think. I think Dune 3 would have a better opening than Rey. But I don't think it beats it in box office ultimately.
I mean, well, there's just too many generations of Star Wars fans. Right? That's why I don't believe it's good for either of them. Neither of them want to open with the other one on the same date. One of them's got to move. I don't see Warner Brothers moving Dune when they just announced it, when they knew Star Wars was there already. Yep. You know, Star Wars is not like when Star Wars claimed that date. You know what else is scheduled to come out that day? Nothing. Nothing else is scheduled for December 18th, 2026 right now. So when Star Wars took that date and planted their flag, there was nobody else there. Perfect. And it's been like that for a couple of months. Dune 3, though, sees Star Wars flag. They know they're on that date. They know they've already planted their flag. They know they're ramping up their marketing, that they're going to be, you know, moving towards a December 18th release of the new Rey Star Wars movie. And they were like, we don't care. We're going to put our date on the exact same day.
They did their best Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, I don't care. That's a great deep cut. Kudos to anybody in the live chat who knows that's a reference. That's a great one. So, yeah, we'll see here what happens. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, if this next Denis Villeneuve film, which is probably Dune 3, is in fact Dune 3, and they're both going to open on the same day with a Star Wars film, do they both actually open on the same day, or does one of them move? And if so, which one do you think moves? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our next topic here, shall we? Paris, what do we got up next?
All right. Well, the Russo brothers have directed some of the most beloved and successful Marvel films in history, including Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and, of course, Endgame. The brothers have recently expressed interest in returning to the MCU, but according to The Hollywood Reporter, Jeff Snyder, Marvel has rejected them.
Ow.
Ouch. Yes, Snyder says the Russos wanted to direct Avengers 5, which still has no director, but Marvel said no. Snyder said he thinks this could be down to budget, citing how deep the Russo budgets have gone in recent movies. So, John, if this report is true, what do you think about Marvel turning down a Russo's brothers' return to the MCU?
Again, in the voice of Vincini, inconceivable. Again, you think about it. The Russo brothers, who I adore, Joe and Anthony have always been really great to us around here. Civil War, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Endgame, right? Now, granted, those movies were built on all the work that came before. Like, it's not like Infinity War, Endgame happened in a vacuum. That was the culmination of like over a decade and 20-something films building up to it and all that kind of stuff. But seriously, when you look back, it's hard not to say that at minimum, all four of the Russo brother films are probably in the top 8 of the best Marvel films ever done. And I want to go over to IRM Online, who was quoting this thing. Snyder, of course, our good friend Jeff Snyder is reporting this. Snyder also had some surprising news about the Russo brothers. The directors of Marvel's most successful Avengers movies were apparently rejected for Avengers 5. Snyder says that the Russos wanted to direct Avengers 5, but because of their budgets and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so, and everything that Paris said. As inconceivable as it is, I also kind of get it. Now, don't get me wrong. If Kevin Feige were to call me up this afternoon, as he often does, if Kevin Feige were to call me up this afternoon and said, what do you think, John? Would you like to see the Russo brothers directing an Avengers film again? I would say yes. I mean, I'm not saying at the expense of, let's say, if Steven Spielberg wanted to direct one, but yes, in general, I would like to see them direct another Avengers film. I've loved their films so far that they've done in the MCU. But John, then why would you say you kind of get it? Well, there's 2 reasons I would get it if this report is true. If Jeff is right about this, and let's be fair, as good of friends as we are with Jeff, he's not always right? Often is, not always, but let's assume for a second that he is right here. The one thing that the article mentioned and that Jeff mentioned himself was their budgets on their recent projects almost consistently always spiral out of control. That's number one. That they have been incapable, both as producers and directors lately, to keep their projects, according to reports, within their projected budgets. And the costs spiral out of control. That is not something that Disney likes. And the second thing, and this is the one I hate saying because, again, I love Joe and Anthony. They're fabulous, and I would like to see them back. But I honestly have not liked a single one of their projects as directors or producers since they left Marvel. I'm just going to say it. We've had 4 or 5 of them, and I'm just being honest. I love these guys. I love the work they do in the MCU. I think they're awesome, and I cheer for them every time. But if I'm being honest, I have not liked a single project they've done yet. Even projects that they've done as producers and directors, whatever, like with Chadwick Boseman. What was the one called? 21 Bridges?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Awful film. Then they
And
did
what a
the one.
shame.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then the one they did with Tom Holland. Awful film.
Cherry? Was that
Cherry? Yeah. Had a lot of potential. I really haven't liked their other stuff they've done too. And so if you're Marvel and you know your next Avengers films have to knock it out of the park, again, if Kevin Feige asks me, I'd say roll the dice on the Russo brothers. But I understand why they would say no when they look at the overall quality of work that's happened since Marvel and the fact that a lot of that work has been with budgets that spun out of control. I can sort of get them going, not the direction we want to go in. And again, it sounds inconceivable. The notion that it's always just been assumed if the Russo brothers would be willing to come back, you take the Russo brothers back. I get it. I've kind of thought that way too. But if this story is true, I kind of get it. I don't know. Are they making a mistake?
I feel like the disrespect. I feel like, the Russo brothers have had successful film with Marvel. At
With
least.
Marvel, right.
Yeah, I agree with you that their films outside of Marvel haven't been the best. But I just feel like this is a gamble, because if it's not the Russo brothers, who will it be?
But here's the other gamble. This is the other gamble, right? Here it is. Because now Kevin Feige's head is in a noose. Because now with this coming out, if it's true, and who knows, maybe Kevin Feige comes out and says, no, that's not true. Me and the Russos haven't talked at all. But let's say it's true. Now that this has come out, that the Russos wanted to come back, if the next Avengers film comes out and it's great, all will be forgotten. But if the next Avengers film comes out and it's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania level quality, everybody will be polishing up their pointing finger and pointing says, you could have had the Russo brothers. How stupid are you, Kevin? Again, if the movie comes out and it's great, we're all just going to forget about this. But if that next Avengers movie now comes out and it's bad, it's like all the teams that passed on drafting Tom Brady when he went dead last in the draft. But seriously, if the next Avengers film comes out and it is subpar, that's all Kevin Feige's going to hear about. That's just made the list. You just made the list. It's going to be the thing that everybody will point to and everybody will talk about and say, what you could have had the Russo. You could have had the guys who did Winter Soldier. You could have had the guys who did Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame. That's all anybody will talk about. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's unfair, but it's the fact. That's what everybody will point at.
It is unfair because you still don't know, just because you had the Russo brothers that didn't guarantee that into that alternate universe that succeeded too.
Yeah, we'll never know, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe if they did get the Russo brothers, maybe worse. The movie would have turned out even worse. We'll never know. But I mean, to Paris's point, there they are. Now, the respect issue. I mean, there's a big thing of respect there. But I mean, look, at the same time, the Russo brothers got to do an Avengers film because they moved on from the previous Avengers director. And maybe Kevin Feige's looking at it and going, you know what? It's time for the new era of Avengers films. Maybe yes, maybe no. I just know this. The noose is now around their neck. This is going to follow them around like a bad rash. Like herpes coming back from Vegas. This is going to be there to haunt them if the next Avengers film isn't good. And who knows? We'll see. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? According to Jeff Schneider, who we like a lot around here, the Marvel has turned down an offer by the Russo brothers to come back and direct the next Avengers films. Maybe it's bold and visionary, or maybe it's a huge mistake. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to our next topic here, shall we? Paris, what do we got up next?
All right, last week it was projected that the new Pixar film Inside Out 2 would break the $1 billion barrier by the end of the weekend, and now it's official. Yesterday, Inside Out 2 passed the $1.01 billion mark to become the first film of 2024 to do so, the first film since Barbie in 2023 to do so, and the fastest animated film in history to do so. The film took #1 at the box office for the third week in a row, edging out A Quiet Place Day 1, which itself took in a franchise record of $53 million opening. So, John, just how big can Inside Out 2 get?
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is straight up crazy. Listen, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I knew Inside Out 2 would be a hit. But I think maybe a month or so before it opened, somebody asked me, John, what do you think of the chance of Inside Out 2 making $1 billion? I'm like, whoa. I mean, come on. It's going to be big, but it ain't going to be that big. I mean, it's not going to make $1 billion. Here we are. After its second weekend, after its third weekend, it's made over $1 billion. And #1 for the third weekend in a row, beating out A Quiet Place, which itself broke a franchise record for the biggest opening in that franchise as well. And it still came out at #1. So how big can it be? Already at the $1 billion mark. Well, let's take a look at, what we've got here. So Inside Out 2 right now is the #12 biggest animated film of all time. Now, by the end of today, it's probably going to pass maybe both Zootopia and Finding Dory. So right now, Zootopia is in the #11 spot with 1.025, Finding Dory 1.028, and Despicable Me 3 at 1.034. So all within about $20 million. So, I mean, after yesterday, maybe by the end today, it could jump all the way up into the #5 spot. Now, then ahead of it, you got the Toy Story movies, Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. Then you get into the $1.1 billion range at number 6 with Minions at 1.159. Then a big jump up to 1.2 billion with The Incredibles 2 at 1.242. Frozen, the original one from 2013 at 1.29. Super Mario Brothers from last year at 1.36. Frozen 2, Let It Go at 1.4. And of course, the 2019 version. And yes, it is an animated film. Please stop with this nonsense about calling The Lion King of 2019 a live action film. It was completely computer generated and animated in a computer. It is an animated film. Is the number one grossing animated film of all time at 1.6. So how big can it get? Here's my guess. I think it bumps Incredibles 2 for the number 5. I think now, I didn't think this before, but I am now starting to think, yes, I think it will get to that $1.242 billion mark and maybe a bit higher. I think it's got another $240 million in it. I think it can pass Incredibles 2 and take the 5 spot. If not, I think it comfortably takes the Minions spot at number 6. Because remember, movie-going trends today are different than before, right? Movies today, every year that passes, movies become more and more front-end loaded, meaning more and more people see the movies in the first 2-3 weeks than ever before, and there's a much quicker drop-off as the weeks progress after that. You know, back in the 1990s, you could have a movie come out and drop just a very little bit, but it's more and more, it's becoming more and more of a steep drop. So I don't see it catching, you know, the Super Mario Brothers movie. I don't see it catching Frozen. I certainly don't see it catching The Lion King. But that Minions at number 6 and The Incredibles at number 5, I could see that. I could see that. How big do you think this thing can get, Paris? How like, which spot do you think it can ultimately conquer?
I'm with you at it taking either number 5, actually number 5, I feel. Just because this is one for the adults, it's one for the kids. People really want to feel not alone, and this is talking about feelings.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it can get big. I feel like it's definitely top 5.
Yeah, I think it can get up there too. Either you guys think that we're way out, like could it get way higher? Do you think it's going to end way lower? Do you think it's at like this weekend's it, now it's going to be out of gas, or what do you guys think?
I'm just trying to compare it to its the weekend of for Super Mario Brothers.
On its third weekend?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a very good
so
thing to look up. Like, how big was the Super Mario Brothers movie on its third weekend?
I believe 59 million.
So this had what, 57?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Super Mario Brothers made 59 on its third weekend, and Inside Out 3 is just behind that.
Let me bring this up on your shot.
And Super Mario Brothers ended up making...
This is Super Mario Brothers on your shot here.
Okay, and so Super Mario Brothers ended up making overall 1.361. So it's a little bit behind it pace-wise.
Yeah. But that's why I'm thinking like it's 100% in the top 5 in my opinion.
So you think Catching Incredibles 2 is 100%?
That's 100%, and I think it's got a shot to take the number 3. Number 2, number 1, I don't think so, but I think it could be a contender to top 5 for sure. Maybe even bumps out Frozen, honestly.
In the number 4 spot?
Very close to threatening Super Mario Brothers, if not takes it.
So it is pacing behind Super Mario Brothers right now. But, I mean, look, right now, it's sky's the limit. And I honestly thought we would be talking around the number, bring this up here, the number 21, 22, 23. Like, I thought it looked at catching Coco, Shrek the Third, the original Inside. I thought it'd be right around the $750 to $850 million range. That was my guess before the movie came out. No, wrong. It's getting up there, maybe in the top 5. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? First of all, the movie industry's first billion-dollar film since Barbie last year, the first of the year, fastest in animated history. It's got a great pace going on. But how big do you think it can get? Crack the top 10? Well, it might do that by the end of the day, but can it crack that top 5? Can it bump Incredibles 2? Can it get even higher on the list? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all down, it's now time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. So before we do, we're going to take another quick second, though, and thank another sponsor of our channel, the people doing good work over at BetterHelp. We want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, BetterHelp. You know, guys, it's one of the most unfortunate human tendencies that we have to try to compare our life to others. And social media plays a big part of that. Comparison is like the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives because on the surface, it might look like they have it all together on their Instagram or YouTube, but in reality, they probably don't. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. Give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Campea today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to the important stuff here, shall we? Your live comments and questions. Paris, what do we got up first?
Got Tack there.
All right, so Attack writes, watched Mask of Phantasm 4K and was enamored. Forgot how incredible this movie was. Amazing gothic art and music with an action-packed story wrapped in drama and tragedy that stays self-aware to the inherent silliness of the concept. Best Batman film.
I don't believe by any stretch that Mask of the Phantasm is the best Batman film, but it's one of the shiny, every rule you kind of had, there are big exceptions to that. Batman Mask of the Phantasm is that big glaring exception to me about how I think most of Marvel and DC's animated stuff sucks, to be honest with you. There are some big examples, or big exceptions, I mean. Batman Mask of the Phantasm is absolutely one. And Batman Mask of the Phantasm doesn't even count because that was a theatrical film. When I usually say their animated stuff is terrible, I usually mean their direct-to-home video stuff. But Mask of the Phantasm, it's just a terrific, terrific film. And you know what? It holds up. I watched it again last year, and it absolutely holds up. Now, do I think it's the best? Is it the Dark Knight? No. But it's a really good film. If you've never had a chance to watch it, do yourself a favor, go check it out. All right, what's next?
Going with the snivy there.
All right. The Snivy writes, choose one of these fictional schools, Jedi Academy, Hogwarts, or Xavier School for the Gifted. Ooh.
All of them carry high chances that you could die simply by attending them. Look, I'm not saying, I'm going to give my answer. I'm not saying that particular cinematic universe is my favorite cinematic universe. I'm just saying, you're asking me which one would I really like to go to. Hogwarts. Listen, I'm not a Potterhead. But whenever, Anna and I have our annual members at Universal Studios Hollywood, and whenever we go, the first thing we do is go to the Harry Potter Wizarding World. It's magical. It's amazing. And like when I see it in the movies, when I see Hogwarts in the movies, it's totally transportive to me. I would definitely take, I'd probably go to the Wizarding World. It looks like, honestly, it looks like being a Jedi sucks.
No, not really.
Dude, I'll tell you, the best...
Because you have to carry a stick to do things. Jedi just goes. Whoops.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
But
Just
here's
open
what,
the doors, yeah.
Here's how I know Ray actually would go to Hogwarts, too. That food spread that they feed those kids every day.
Oh, my
Are
God.
you kidding me?
Chef
But you have
Pleasures?
to carry around a stick all the time
Yeah.
to do stuff. That's what I'm saying. Whoops.
Well, you carry around a cell phone. You carry around a cell phone.
Yeah.
You can carry around a stick.
Yeah, you can put a cell phone in your pocket. You can't put, what are you going to put the stick?
Tell
Tell me where are you going to put the stick?
I
John?
show you-
Where are you going to hold that stick, John?
My hand.
It's
Well,
magic. The stick can disappear.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just-
just,
I show you that spread on day one. You're never
you're
leaving
there.
Hogwarts.
You're never leaving.
Don't get me
All
wrong.
right. What's next?
All right. Carlos
All
there.
right. Carlos Sosa writes, playing through Marvel's Spider-Man 2 game, and I have to say it's the greatest comic game I've ever played. Wow. Great gameplay, story, attention to detail, and cutscenes almost match that of The Last of Us.
The first one was great. I never did play the second one, to be honest. I never
Yeah.
did get around to playing the second
Jonathan,
one.
have you
No, I started the first one. I still have it on PlayStation. Like I had downloaded it a long time ago. I know I got to get over like the first like chapter of it. It just felt very button mashy, just the repetitive, shoot a web, punch a guy over and over, unlimited. But I know I just got to get past that and it'll be better. So I'm behind on the Spider-Man franchise.
All right. What's next?
All right. Paul Dean writes, hi, John and company. I don't know how heavy your music taste is, but I saw Ghost's concert film in the cinema recently. It was amazing. Had goosebumps throughout. If you like the band, I recommend giving it a watch if you get the chance. Thanks for all you do.
You are the third person to write
Yeah.
in about Ghost's thing, and I'll tell you the same thing I told everybody else. I'd never heard of Ghost. I'd never heard of them. And it's not like I never listened to music. I have never heard of Ghost. Now, so this came up the other week because we were talking about music documentaries, and obviously, Rattle and Hum. There's the Beatles documentary stuff, the Metallica one that they had out a couple of years ago. But yeah, I'm not familiar with Ghost, so I didn't have a chance to see it. But you're like the third person to write in about it. All right, what's next?
Anonymous writes, there's a lot you could do in the Harry Potter universe. You can go back to medieval times. What about the persecutions of witches? But if I was to introduce new characters, I would write about first magical muggles being allowed to Hogwarts.
Honestly, not something that interests me. They've already covered kind of like the whole thing with Hermione in the original movies. Already kind of covered that ground about, the movies themselves, even beyond Hermione. There's almost a Magneto and Xavier thing going on that we are the superior race, we're the future Charles, not them. And that's basically Voldemort's thing, right? So they've kind of covered that. I'm kind of past the whole magical versus muggle thing. What do they call them in America? In England, at Hogwarts, they call them muggles.
Oh, I never caught that in
But yeah, because in the Newt Scamander movies, in the Fantastic Beasts, when they go to the American school, Americans call the non-magics
No
something.
Maj,
as in no magics. Right. So they've already kind of covered that territory.
The only
I
thing
feel like I'm ready to move beyond it.
The only thing I wouldn't mind doing, and it could even be on a series, is if you're going to do a prequel, let's go way back. And you could lead up to like where the end is the forming of Hogwarts, but tracking like Salazar Slytherin and whatever Hufflepuff and Gryffindor and how they came to be to like agree to have the four houses and create Hogwarts and all that is. And you know what I mean?
I'm interested in that.
I would love
watch
to see that because there's a lot there. I just don't even know.
I've watched some YouTube videos in the last couple of years of people who know the lore of Harry Potter, and that would make for a great movie. Because I'm going to say this may sound like a hot take, but after seeing like the stumbling of the Fantastic Beasts movies, and I liked a couple of them, by the way. I really liked the last one they did, but at any rate. But then the outrageous popularity of, what was it called? Hogwarts Legacy or Hogwarts?
You're right, it is.
Hogwarts Legacy. The insane popularity of that. I would suggest this. I think in the wizarding world, Hogwarts is a more important figure than Harry is himself. I think
Shots fired.
you build around Hogwarts, the Harry Potter fans get very impassioned and I would say if you want to talk about doing things in different eras, you don't need Harry, but you do need Hogwarts. I think anything you do, past or future, it's got to be revolving around Hogwarts. And I think you can work. I think if that's your anchor, I think the Wizarding World fans will come out and support it.
Well, you can't get to Hogwarts without that train. So maybe that's the most important character.
You can.
Hogwarts is the main character. It really is, actually.
Yeah, Hogwarts is a character. It's
Sorry,
really-
Ray. Yeah.
All right.
I'm just in the argument.
Just the train. The train and the stick. The train and the stick. All right, what's next?
Willow Pillow writes, are you excited for the idea of a potential Austin Powers 4? Mike Myers looks fantastic in his latest public appearance, and the last time he talked about it, he teased it could be a Doctor Evil focused sequel. What do you think? Thanks. Been a fan since TFA.
I honestly don't think it'll ever happen,
Yeah.
but I would love it. Listen, the prequels drove George Lucas out of movies. The Love Guru drove one of our most comedic genius guys ever, Mike Myers, out of the movies. I mean, that hurt him so much that he literally just disappeared for ages. And I get it, because Love Guru was terrible. I mean, it really was. So whatever. But we have had a Mike Myers shaped hole in our movie loving hearts for ages now. And if he could come back and do another Austin Powers movie, whether it focuses on Austin or Dr. Evil, I think it needs to be both. I honestly think not $1 billion film. We're talking about I think a $400 million film. I think there's a great nostalgia factor to it. I think people would love to have Mike Myers back in that. I would be totally down, but I don't think it's going to happen. That's the unfortunate thing.
Go ahead.
Can we even handle that type of comedy anymore? I mean, the things
People say that, but I say yes, absolutely, 100%, because it's all about context, and it's all about where you're coming from. You're not punching down.
Oh, sorry. With something like this, like, would they be able to drop a short like on YouTube just to see if there's traction before they
kind of pull a Ryan Reynolds
just
accidentally
do a little
leaking the
skit,
Deadpool
maybe,
footage thing?
just to see how many people view it? I mean, it's
You could.
Is that something you?
I don't even think you need to. I think the audience
so?
would
There's an
come.
audience for it, yeah.
I'd say the audience would come.
It's been too long for me.
Can you imagine if this could be a bit of a renaissance of comedy? If you end up with an Austin Powers, what do you call it? The police.
Bad Boys?
Police Academy.
Not Police Academy.
Beverly
What's the other one? Why am I drawing a blank? Where he's like, "Don't call me Shirley." That actor.
Oh,
he's in
Airplane.
but not
or Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
That Spaceballs and Austin Powers around the same kind of period of time. That could be.
See, I've always believed that era's humor would still work today. Like whenever the conversations come up about, could you do The Office today? I believe 100% yes, you can still you could do The Office today. And nothing drove that home for me more than the Tom Brady roast. When you watch the Tom Brady roast and you saw the response from people, like that thing got huge numbers on Netflix. And everybody, by the way, Nikki Glaser, who was easily the MVP of the Tom Brady roast, August, she's coming to town. Ray, we're going to buy tickets because we got to go see her. Because like, I think she might be my new favorite comedian right now. She is awesome. Anyway. Okay. What's next?
There you go.
All right. Twilight Boy.
Boy. This is the thing we do.
Okay, love that. Is it disheartening whenever friends turn into hate mongers and fall to the grift? There's a few YouTubers I liked who became pure anti-woke channels, and when I grew up watching, who was turning to it. I can't imagine seeing it happen to a personal friend.
I mean, no, it is sad and unfortunate, but again, like you also kind of get it. Like, look, there are certain things I know I can do on my channel that would get a ton more views. Like if I did trailer reactions, again, no disrespect to anybody who does trailer reactions. If that's your thing and you do them well, like Alba does them so good, our day one friends do them so good, that's great. But I know trailer reactions are not my thing. And I know I've been told by many YouTube consultants that if I were to do trailer reactions, we get tons more stuff. If I were to do this, we get tons more views. I get it. Hate content on YouTube gets more clicks. It just does. So the question becomes, are you willing to whore yourself out and sell yourself out and chill yourself for the hate clicks to just create a lot of hate content and get into that crowd? Because there's a crowd out there that gravitates to that type of material. I get it. And it is disheartening. It's one of the things that honestly has motivated me to look at retiring early. And one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to getting out of YouTube is because that's become not so much that those bloggers and podcasters and YouTubers are there, but it's just the fact that the audience is there. It's really disheartening. And yeah, it is disheartening. It is very disheartening for sure.
They coined it rage baiting.
Rage baiting.
Rage baiting.
Yep.
Just wanting people to be angry. I'm not into
Yep.
it.
And feed into people's anger and hatred and whatever, because they're suckers, right? You know, like the people who click on the hate content are easy suckers to draw them in to click on your content, right? Just make a big thumbnail with the googly eyes and whatever, and you'll get those suckers in and they whore themselves out.
Something is destroyed. Something is ruined.
Yeah.
So-and-so. Yeah. It is what it is. Whatever. All right. What's next?
All right. Red One on Red Notice writes, I get the simple appeal of Santa Claus gets kidnapped as a premise for Red One, but the concept of reimagining the North Pole as being like the White House is too goofy for me, mainly because I feel like they're playing that aspect way too seriously.
Look, I'm going to tell you what. Look, I hate the trailer. I do. I hate the Red One trailer. And I hate saying that because I love Chris Evans. I love Dwayne Johnson. I love J.K. Simmons. Love everybody involved with it. But I thought the trailer was terrible. That being said, the thing that I didn't have a problem with is the concept. And this is, look, everybody laughs at me. This is part of my defense of Twilight. I said, I didn't like any of the Twilight movies other than the last one. I actually had a kick with the final Twilight movie I did. But even in the first movie that I did not like, I enjoyed the fact that they took the stereotypical, typical vampire lore and decided to play around with it a little bit. Vampires don't poof into smoke into sun. Rather, they get revealed in the sun. I like just little things like that. I like playing around with old mythology that way. The fact that Red 1 is like approaching like Santa's North Pole operation is a serious thing and it's run seriously. I like the concept. I do. I just thought it was a bad trailer. That's all. That didn't make me funny. That didn't make me laugh. So, all right, what's next?
Don't you blame the movies, writes. Loved Quiet Place day one. I can't get around how the creatures work. How do they know when they hear a sound? It's not another creature in a busy city. In a busy city, it must drive them mad, running to every noise they hear. They can hear a can being kicked and a shirt ripping.
I mean, I think that's easily explainable because, like, if you're one of those creatures, you know exactly what other creatures sound like. And so that just kind of fades out. And whatever isn't that normal thing is the thing they zoom in on. The one thing I enjoyed Quiet Place Day 1 very much. I do not think it's as good as Quiet Place 1 or 2. But one of my little criticisms and complaints I have about the third film is that this is your third film. Let us know a little bit more about the creatures. Like, honestly, I still know as little about the creatures as I did in the first 10 minutes of Quiet Place 1.
And I was hoping this would answer that.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what I thought,
not
yeah.
full answer, not full. I didn't need to know their home planet. But like a little bit more about how they function. It would have been nice to go a little bit more into that. But like that aside, I still thought it was a riveting, tense, enjoyable film that I really liked. Just not as good as the original two. All right, what's next?
Mike P writes, this man is in no condition to F a sheep. Frenchie, I love the boys.
I'll tell you what, I said this on open mic this weekend. It's the delivery of the line. I literally had to stop the show. I was laughing. I was gasp laughing, where you gotta, like, you're laughing so hard that you're fighting to inhale. And just the way Frenchie said it, like, it's very, like, this man is in no condition to fuck a sheep. I'm like, oh my, I just started to lose it. I had to pause it, rewind it. My God. I mean, this season of The Boys is just firing on all freaking cylinders. I love it so much. By the way, some people might have noticed we haven't mentioned House of the Dragon. I'm going to do an open mic a little bit later today where we're going to talk about last night's episode of House of the Dragon, which is so good. It was so good. But yeah, The Boys just continues to fire on all cylinders. All right, what's next?
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon.
All right. Bry Guy D. Stringham writes, whoop ass, an R-rated The Powerpuff Girls inspired slasher horror parody film that's being produced by Michael Bay. Is it Taika
Waititi?
Waititi, yep. Chelsea Winstanley and Jerry Bruckheimer, written and directed by Jermaine Clement, and some original songs by Rita Ora.
Well, look, there's a lot of talent in that, but
Wait, is that real or is that a
no,
fake?
he always comes up with premises like
Premise?
yeah,
As soon as you say Powerpuff Girls, I'm out.
yeah.
Sorry.
Dang.
No.
Shade to the Powerpuff Girls.
I hope it's not a long elevator ride because that elevator pitch just like
Yeah,
crashed and burned.
elevator pitch
Fail.
fell on deaf ears. Now, music by Rita Ora. You've got me interested. Taika Waititi's involvement in anything, sure, but as soon as you label it as a Powerpuff thing, I'm out.
I'm
got
sure
no
you like
interest in
Rita
that.
Ora.
But I do love me Rita Ora. I really do.
I do too.
All right, what's next?
All right. Carl Tunes
Yeah, I think
writes,
cartoons.
hey, John and crew.
Carl Tunes.
I love that. Hey, John and crew, love your show. Could they make a Who Framed Roger Rabbit sequel or make a movie that combines quality classic 3D animation / live action like the first and succeed today? Visually stunning movie that needs to be recaptured.
Anything can succeed today. Anything can if you do it right and do it the right way. So, like, look, could you put out a Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2, like literally a Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2 today? I don't think so. But can you do another mixed live action animation style thing? Well, in many ways, we get that all the time. I mean, that's Jar Jar. That's Thanos. But could you do it, say, with, let's imagine if, So you got Ryan Reynolds running around, and he's interacting with Buzz and Woody and Sully. Yeah. Look, again, if you come up with the right concept and the right story, it can absolutely work. I don't see why not. I don't think you can do a literal Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2, but just in principle, that could work if you did it right. Could also be a massive bomb, but yeah, it could work, possibly. All right. What's next?
Right. Spencer Fong writes, saw Horizon and highly recommend it for any Costner fans. Glad I saw it in theaters for the epic wide shots and superb sound effects. If you don't like Westerns or Costner style, you will get bored because this movie did not need to be 3 hours.
I'll tell you what. Listen, I am a big Kevin Costner fan, going all the way back to his Robin Hood and Dance with Wolves, obviously. I love Yellowstone so much. But, and I loved his presentation at CinemaCon. I thought his presentation at CinemaCon was great. Problem was, the trailers come out. I saw all the trailers. I couldn't tell you what this movie's about, other than the fact that it's in the West. Okay. I'm sorry, but that's not enough to get me to go to a movie. You gotta tell me what the movie's about. I have no clue what that movie's about. If I were to go to Anne, say, hey, do you want to go see fuckface? What's the name of the movie again? Horizon. If I wanted to go see Horizon,
I think people are buying
that's the name of the
tickets now.
second film. Sorry, that's the name of the second film. But if I went to go to Anne right now and I said to her, hey, baby, you want to go see Horizon? She's going to say, I'll tell you exactly what she'll say to me. She goes, maybe, what's it about? And I'll say, I don't know.
Maybe that's the appeal, the mystery.
Yeah.
It's really not an
people say we
appeal.
reveal too
Mysterious
much in
cowboy.
trailers now, so
And
like we're gonna
then-
reveal very little.
Not for that long of a movie.
And then, on top of being a movie that I don't even know what it's about, it's a 3-hour movie I don't know what it's about. Like, I'm sorry, you want me to go to a 3-hour movie? You got to convince me to come to a 3-hour movie, and you're not doing anything to convince me. And unfortunately, and again, it breaks my heart because I love Kevin Costner, but unfortunately, the movie came in exactly where it was projected. $100 million movie just opened to $11 million. And they got a second one coming out next month. Who's going to go see that? So, yeah, I here's the thing. I'm not going to see the movie because they never bothered telling me why I should go see it. If you can't be bothered in your marketing to tell me why I should go see your movie, then why should I bother taking 3 hours of my time to go see your movie? It doesn't matter how much I like Kevin Costner. You got to tell me
Probably
why I
thought
should
Kevin
come.
Costner would speak for itself, that they didn't need to do much because it's Kevin Costner, but
They were
I don't know
probably
if he
hoping.
has that stardom.
No, he doesn't have that draw anymore.
They were probably hoping for that Yellowstone.
Yeah,
buzz,
they were
you know?
thinking the Yellowstone afterglow, but it doesn't work like that anymore. All right, what's next?
All right, Logan Vaughn writes, are the days of midnight movie premieres gone for good? It feels like around 2012, 2013, someone decided that midnight premieres would now start at 7 p.m. While I don't miss being out till 3 a.m., there was something electric about the late night premiere crowd.
All right, I am opening up my phone because I got to go into my AMC app because it's so funny you asked this question because Anne just came up to me like 2 days ago and said, oh my gosh, this movie is opening at midnight. And I can't remember. It might be Despicable Me 4.
Whoa.
Well, that would be
I know, which
shocking.
is weird. It might have been Despicable Me 4, but it was one of those movies that's literally doing a 12:01 a.m. screening. And I haven't seen that in ages. Now, look, the reason is because back in the day, all movies today say opening on July 26th, and that's always a Friday, right? But we all know now that's not really when the movies open. They can say it opens on July 26th, but what it really means is that it opens on the Thursday, July 25th. All movies do that. The only movie I remember in recent memory that didn't actually open on the Thursday was that horrible The Kitchen Sink. Is that the one it was called with who was in it? Melissa, the girl from Bridesmaids.
Melissa McCarthy?
McCarthy.
Yeah, the Melissa McCarthy was called The Kitchen, and
Looking
who else?
it up.
And
I'm trying
anyway,
to-
like
I
The
don't know.
Kitchen or The Kitchen Sink or whatever it was called. That one did not open on the Thursday. That's the last movie I
just the
remember.
kitchen.
What's that?
Just the.
It's just called The Kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Terrible movie. Not very good. But what happened was that,
Shout out to Melissa McCarthy.
yeah, shout out to Melissa McCarthy. With Star Wars, it's like, okay, movie opened on Friday. Well, we're going to open it as early on Friday as we can, 12:01 a.m. And big midnight premieres used to be a big thing for movie fans, right? We would go because you had work the next day, work or school the next day, and you're going to go to the movie theater 12:01. Well, then it became 11 p.m. Then it became 10 p.m. Then it became 8 p.m. And now Thursday screenings can happen at noon, right? So it looked like the 12:01 a.m. screenings were gone, but it looks like they are doing it and I think it's Despicable Me 4 might be another one.
And plus, with the last movie I waited till midnight to watch was the Ultraman Rising on Netflix. I was so excited for that movie, and
you didn't go to a
but
theater
I'm just saying that that's the last movie I remember staying up till 12 to actually watch. So I don't know what do you remember, John? The last time we seen a midnight movie,
like in a theater?
Yeah, was it Spider-Man No Way Home?
I remember.
Spider-Man No Way Home. The midnight screening stuff was already done by No Way Home. It might have been Avengers 1.
Yeah, that's on my. So
it might have been the first Avengers.
I know for sure I did Cloverfield at the Chinese theater, and I did the first Avengers at midnight at the El Capitan across the street.
Yeah, that might have been the last time I did a midnight screening. I'm not sure. I don't know for sure, but I think that might have been the last time. All right, what's next?
Logan again.
Oh, it is Logan. Okay. So Logan Vaughn writes, I'm realizing that if I ever want to see LeBron play in person, I probably only have 1, maybe 2 seasons left. I live in Chattanooga, so I guess I'll catch an away game versus the Hawks in Atlanta. Do you have a favorite memory seeing LeBron in LA?
Just my first time going to a Laker game and getting to see LeBron play. I learned even when I was a kid and I had a chance to go see Wayne Gretzky, who is, apologies to fans of all other sports, but it's not even close, everybody. Wayne Gretzky is the greatest professional athlete in history. Like, his stats and numbers are so much above all of his compatriots and everything like that, like way more than Jordan separated himself, way more than Tom Brady has separated himself. It's just no compare. ESPN did a great breakdown on it. There's no question Wayne Gretzky is the greatest professional athlete of all time. And when I got to go see Gretzky play, even then as a kid, I knew I'm lucky because I'm getting to see history here. I'm getting to see Wayne Gretzky. I also got to see Mario Lemieux and guys like that play when I was a kid. But getting to go see LeBron was pretty cool because, like, I grew up as a child, like, watching Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, right? And then as I got into my teenage years, I got to see Michael Jordan. And I never thought we would ever see another player come around that we would even compare to Jordan, right? And we get to right now see, and I know there's a lot of LeBron haters, and that's fine, whatever, but LeBron hater or not, nobody ever thought Kareem's record would ever get broken. Nobody ever thought that. And nobody ever thought we would get to a point that there's even discussions comparing LeBron and Michael Jordan. Like, you can still be a Michael Jordan guy, and for the record, I still am a Michael Jordan guy. But I mean, if LeBron wins like another ring, which I don't think he will, but if he wins like another ring in his 40s, might have to reevaluate that. But we never thought, ever. We always thought, me growing up, everybody I knew was, it's Jordan, and then way down here, and then there's everybody else who'd be in the conversation.
Well, Kobe's in there a little bit.
I don't think so.
Well, but you know what? Let's go. He wants to see LeBron in the game, right? Like at the game. I suggest he go early. There's only 3 guys in the league that you should go early to a game. It's LeBron, Luka, and Steph Curry. Mm-hmm. Just because LeBron during warmups, he seems like he's always like hopping music, like interacting with the crowd. Luka, if you've seen his warmups, he's sitting on a chair shooting shots. Like, that's just amazing.
And Steph will stand in the hallway.
So those 3 guys, I think, are the most interesting to watch before a game. So hopefully this guy or whoever the writer is of the message gets to go see LeBron before he retires. It's a sight to see.
Yeah,
just guys, physical stature.
If you get the chance, listen, like, take advantage of this. We are literally talking about the guy who, not Kareem, not Jordan, not Bird, not Magic. We are talking about the all-time leading scorer. By the way, here's a crazy stat, and Ray fact check me on this. LeBron James
Okay.
is not only the top scorer of all time, if I'm not mistaken, he's in the top 5 all-time assists as well, and in the top 25 all-time rebounds. No other player in the top 25 scoring list is in the top 25 assists.
Oh yeah, he's number 4.
LeBron James is the number 1 scorer and the number 4 assist guy. Nobody else comes anywhere near that. That's how, if you get a chance to see a guy like LeBron James play, that's something you will 10, 15, 20 years from now, you go, I got to go watch that guy play live. The highest scorer, top 5 all-time assists, top 20-something all-time rebounds. Listen, I'll tell you this right now. No one will ever do that again. There will never be another player that gets in the top 5 scoring and top 5 assists at the same time.
He's 500, less than 500 away from hitting the top 25 in rebounds.
Okay, so he's just outside of the top 25 now.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing has to beat Patrick Ewing.
Got to pass Patrick. Okay, so there you go. But anyway, a guy with those types of numbers, not even Jordan has done that. I mean, that's insane. Anyway, okay, so sorry. We got a lot more questions to get through. Let's pick up the pace. What's next?
All right, Logan again.
All right. Logan Vaughn writes, given Grogu's age, I would love to go 300 to 400 years into the future and put adult Grogu as a central, but not main character. He would be a matured warrior having mastered the Force and, is it Mando's fighting style?
Mando's fighting style?
Mando. Lots of story potential, all going forward too.
Unless he's dead.
Nah.
Unless he's dead.
Yeah, Mando will be dead. And Grogu, I think, will die. I don't think Grogu makes it to adulthood, but whatever. That all being said, Grogu, Baby Yoda, is a perfect character for what he is, right? The end of Mandalorian episode 1, when Baby Yoda makes his first appearance, the whole world went, "Shut up! Oh my God, look at that!" and people who had never watched Star Wars. I know Anne and a bunch of Anne's girlfriends even talked to me. It's like, I never watched Star Wars, but as soon as I saw a picture of Baby Grogu, I had to watch it. Now, I don't know why I'm channeling my guy from from Parks and Rec. Who's the comedian, a guy who did the voice of either Timon or Pumbaa, and he talks like this, and he's what's that comedian's name again? I'm forgetting his name. Anyway, but like I had all of Anne's girlfriends like saying, yeah, as soon as I saw that, boom, that was it. But I don't know that I'm interested, to be honest with you, in
Is it Billy Eichner?
No. Oh, no. What? Billy Eichner. Yes.
Yeah.
That was him. And I've been rewatching Parks and Recs again. It's like, oh my God, you're too beautiful.
That's a good impression.
But that's exactly how Anne's friends sound when they talk about Baby Grogu. I'll be honest with you, I'm not interested in seeing an adult Grogu. 300 years later, without Mandalorian, without all those characters around him, I'm not really down for it, to be honest. All right, what's next?
All right, Logan's last.
All right. Hold on. Okay. Logan Vaughn writes, you said that you think Grogu meets a grisly fate. Let's play that out. How does he die? If Kylo Ren, that makes me hate Ben Solo even more. So what if someone like Thrawn that actually kills Grogu? Could it happen in the upcoming movie?
Nah. I think, listen, Grogu, I think will die in lore. I don't know that we'll see him die on screen. I think that'll just piss too many people off. So I think they'll just never kind of reference, because again, Grogu being alive, once we get into the later movies, makes no sense, right? So he's gone. He's dead. But I don't think it'll ever be something they touch on or address. I don't think they'll say Kylo Ren killed him. I don't think they'll say Thrawn killed him. I don't think they'll say anything like that. I just think it'll just be one of those things that will never be a question that gets answered. Whatever happened to him.
Yeah, I think if he dies, it's going to be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Not like
but again,
murdered.
I don't think it'll be on screen.
No.
I think it'll just be always left as an unanswered, whatever happened to Grogu. I don't think they'll ever answer it.
No.
Man, he does eat a lot of frogs, though.
He eats a lot of frogs.
There could be one bad batch.
Choked on there.
One bad batch
Death
of
by
frogs.
frog.
Bad frogs.
All right, what's next?
All right. If you don't
I like that Indiana Jones reference. Bad dates.
If you don't answer me right, one animated show I recommend for you to watch is Green Lantern, the animated series. I know, he's cool and all, but not all that. The show makes him all that. A planet has a lantern ring, a whole freaking planet, and lar fleas. Sheesh, 1 season only.
Nah.
So
Listen,
excited.
I'm over. Look, for 15 years, I would let people know. Look, I really think most Marvel and DC straight to home video stuff is not very good. And then for 15 years, I've had, oh, but John, you got to try this one. I'm like, all right. Well, that wasn't any good. Okay, but John, you got to try this one. And I go, okay. And no, I'm over it. Harley Quinn is a different thing. Harley Quinn is a completely horse of a different color. I absolutely loved it. Again, there have been a couple of exceptions, but why would I waste my time watching stuff that I know there's a 90% chance I won't like it when I can spend my time watching stuff that I think I have a pretty good chance of liking it? So again, I'm not crap talking on the show because I haven't seen it. Right? If you like it, that's awesome. I'm not disrespecting it. I'm just saying I already know that kind of show isn't for me, and there's a very low percentage chance that I'll enjoy it. So I'd rather use my time watching stuff that I think has a higher chance that I'll enjoy it. All right, what's next?
If you don't answer me right, I'm guessing there's a very good reason why there's no Operation Underworld movie, where the Mafia helped the Allies against the Axis powers. The Irishman didn't really touch on that, but never mind. As I digress, have you seen the show From? Good show.
Oh, From actually.
Isn't that the one
They sponsored us. They sponsored this series.
I've been wanting to see
where the guy from Oz, I keep forgetting the actor's name. He was the guy in the wheelchair in Oz, and he was in Leonardo DiCaprio's Romeo and Juliet, and I'm forgetting the name of the actor. But anyway, they sponsored our show. They I kid you not. I almost embarrassed to say this.
It's not Harold
That's him. Yes. Yes. Perino or something like that. Love him. Like He's a great actor. He was even in Sons of Anarchy for a little while.
Perino.
The show hadn't started yet, and I got contacted by the network, and I think they gave me like $10,000 just to put out a couple of tweets about the show. And I would say in the tweet, sponsored. This is a sponsored tweet. And so it's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But in all legitimacy, I really like the show. I never did watch season 2. I watched the first season, loved it, but I didn't get around to watching season 2. So I don't know what happens in season 2. And like you just reminded me, I got to get on that. I've totally forgotten about it. I got to get back and go watch, because I thought the first season was awesome. And so I'll look forward to watching the second one. All right, what's next?
All right. Bry Guy D. Stringham writes, The Breadwinner is a 2017 animated drama film. This is the premise. In 2001, Afghanistan is under the control of the Taliban. When her father is captured, a determined young girl disguises herself as a boy in order to provide for her family. 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Never heard of it, but it sounds a little bit like,
Mulan?
What was the Barbara Streisand one? Yentl? Sounds like a little bit of Yentl, a little bit of Mulan.
I remember that title, but I never saw it.
Yeah, I never saw it either. I'm not familiar with the film, haven't heard about it, but I love the premise of it. Sounds great. All right, what's next?
Yeah, we'll just refer to this one as Goo Goo and move on.
Yeah. Goo Bye writes, what was your favorite book growing up that was later turned into a movie or television / streaming series? Also, in my opinion, Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg producing To Kill a Mockingbird as a 10-episode long miniseries on Apple TV Plus could be interesting.
Anybody making a To Kill a Mockingbird streaming series would be interesting. I mean, let's be honest here. Hobbit. The Hobbit. I mean, that was the book that is still, I mean, always, when I growing up, that was my book, was The Hobbit. And, say what you will about the Hobbit films, I still remember watching the first one, especially when the dwarves show up to Bilbo's house and they start they're doing that song about the plates, break the plates. That's what Bilbo Baggins hates. Like, it teleported me into the world. I mean, it just took my imagination into the world of The Hobbit. That's the one for me. And, I love that they did it, even though they're not nearly as good as the Lord of the Rings films. All right, what's next?
All right, Goo Bye writes, the MGM Lionsgate, My House. The pro fist sir Goo Bye. Poor Tim is surrounded by...
Okay, listen, I don't understand a thing that's being said, so let's just move on. Next question.
Are you guys getting this? All right. Dr. Strex, Itchy Belly writes, love the show. Been watching for almost 3 years now, and I just love the whole crew. Lots of love.
Aw, thank you, Doc. It's always nice when somebody just wants to write in to be supportive. Thank you, man. We appreciate that very much. All right.
Dr. Shrek's Itchy
What's
Belly.
next?
Sounds like
All
a
right.
cream company.
Matan underscore Valensky, I hope I pronounced that right. As it is the last show before Canada Day, I want to ask, is Drake a bad Canadian kid if what Kendrick says about him is
Yeah,
true?
you know what? I'm not doing. I said this months ago, guys. I don't. Two grown ass men standing on their own little soapboxes and yelling things at each other on social media like a couple of fucking babies instead of like real men getting together and having a conversation, working it out. Not interested in the topic. Don't give a shit about this TMZ nonsense. Don't give a shit about either of them. So let's move on.
On
What's
to the next. All right, Anonymous writes, so I understand it was a metaphor from Butcher, but hear me out. The same way Huey's dad said his recovery was a true blue miracle, referring to Compound V without knowing it, couldn't the angel on the shoulder be a wink from writers?
In the first few episodes of this season, I really didn't care about this whole, like, I mean, yes, I love Huey's dad, played by Simon Pegg, but I mean, the whole storyline I thought was just dragging the show. I mean, there's no point to this storyline. Okay, like out of nowhere, dad had a stroke that off camera, and I said, okay, whatever. Let's just move on. I'm never going to doubt them again because the payoff of that storyline with this last episode, with the Compound V and the death of Simon Pegg, the character, I was like, I'm never going to question anything again. Because right now, I don't really like the Frenchie storyline. But now I want to see what they do with it because I wasn't really into this whole Huey's dad in the hospital storyline, and the payoff was so powerful and so emotional. I'm like, totally worth it. It was totally worth it. Hopefully they're going to have the same kind of thing with Frenchie. I hope. All right. What's next?
All right. Scott Brown writes, I agree with you about what Star Wars needs to do to fix things. They have no creative, narrative, or all over story outline at all. They just wait for someone to come up with a pitch and go, let's make that without asking if it serves or adds to the lore.
It's the biggest thing. Well, but one of the biggest problems with Star Wars right now is there is no creative direction to Star Wars. It's a bunch of random ideas that, well, let's do this. And then, oh, now let's try this. There's nothing that connects their universe together, nothing that makes it feel like a cohesive entity. It's just random. And that's been the hallmark of, and again, with all due respect to Kathleen Kennedy, who I respect very, very much, but it has been a hallmark of her leadership at Lucasfilm. No plan. Let's just do some random things and see what works. And they really do have to fix that. All right, what's next?
All right. Suthius writes, for anyone who is interested, the actual Da Vinci Code walking tour in Paris is only about $160. I've seen Peg mostly in comedic roles, but my goodness, he was phenomenal in episode 5. The switch between mean dad and good dad was amazing. Felt so bad for him.
Listen, I've known Simon for a bunch of years, and I've always thought he's completely been underrated as an actor. He's hilarious, obviously, but that dude can act. And you're right. What he did in that episode of the quick transitions from mean, angry, hurt Hugh to loving, tender, sensitive Hugh, and back and forth and all that. And then the way he played it out in his final scene. I mean, like, seriously, that I'm not saying he's an Oscar winner, but that is a great actor. And it's really good to see him have a chance to flex those creative muscles. All right, what's next?
Mike McHale writes, hi, John. Have you visited a Harkins yet to get the $30 popcorn perks pass? I'm moving from Phoenix to Denver soon, and I'm so excited that Harkins are out there as well. Hands down, my favorite theater chain and the best tasting popcorn in the game. Thanks.
I have not, but I love this idea. For those of you who didn't, because I don't think we have one near us. We don't have a Harkins anywhere
There's
really
one
close
near
to
Rob.
Is there one out in Redlands, right?
in
So that's a
Redlands.
little far for us to go, but they have this deal where it's like you pay $30 for popcorn.
Yeah.
And
for
then-
the year.
Yeah, and you just get a free popcorn every time you go.
It's
like
like
a
limit,
popcorn-
but you'd have to literally go 3 or 4 times a month to hit the limit for the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
great. The problem is I would not be able to go to the Harkins on a regular basis to take advantage of that. But if I did live near a Harkins, because I get a popcorn every time I go to the movies, I have to. I need my butter delivery system. I would totally take advantage of it, but no, I have not and probably won't have a chance
I think
to.
there's one in Chino Hills too, but even that's a drive for you guys.
Really? In Chino Hills? That's a little bit of a drive, but that's not as bad as Redlands.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Tyler Main, my main, writes, new DP3 teaser, and Tyler Main is back as Sabretooth. People have waited decades for this fight. Just like Cavill is some people's defining Superman, Maine is my definitive, terrifying, hulking Michael Myers. Jamie Lee Curtis is a beast, but she could never win.
Taylor Maine, was he the new Mike Myers?
No, I think he's just comparing it to Mike Myers and
Oh,
her,
okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
I gotta say this is the problem. Much like a couple of the Batman movies that brought in Bane, like the one George Clooney one that had Bane. Bane was just this brainless monster. Urgh. And Sabretooth just being some kind of mindless killing machine. Victor Creed, which I believe is his real name, is a much more interesting character. That's why I kind of preferred, maybe they went too far with it, but Liev Schreiber's iteration of Sabretooth, I actually liked a little bit more. So I don't know if we're going to get Liev Schreiber in this or not, but I mean, it is a big kick to see the original Sabretooth from the first X-Men movie in there. That's pretty cool to see. All right, what's next?
Save Legends at the bottom because it's a two-parter.
All right. Save Legends of Tomorrow writes, based on viewership data available, some of it suggesting current viewership is half that of Ahsoka and 1/4 that of Mandalorian season 3. I don't think the Acolyte will get a second season. I haven't watched that. I honestly feel like most people checked out after the first 2 or 3 episodes, and the discourse surrounding it is from vocal minorities who says it's either the best or the worst. Agree or disagree?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm one of the people who tapped out. I can't, it's just too badly done. And it's not, none of it is what the hate mongers will have you believe. Oh, it's because, it's all the woke stuff that's in it. It's like, let me channel my inner pitch meeting idea here. Okay. So first of all, the 2 big arguments that I constantly have people writing in on the comments section, constantly, you may not see them because they get deleted, but constant barrage of people who always say one of 2 things when it comes to the Acolyte. Number 1, it's just all about them pushing a woke agenda. Number 2, the writing is bad because they're just so focused on their woke agenda. So it's bad because it's nothing but a woke agenda, or the writing is bad because they're focusing on their woke agenda. It's a bad show because it's a bad show. But it's almost like they think like here that they're in their first writers meeting, right? And so the producer comes in and says, all right, guys, so our lead character is going to be twins. It's Osha and May, and it's going to be we're going to have a young black actress play it, and that's going to be our base. And now here's what we're going to do. And then they think the writers kick in. So basically, every episode we're going to make about the struggles of a young black female and how tough it is in the Star Wars universe to be a young black female in that universe. And we're going to revolve our episodes around that. And then the producer, no, we're actually never even going to mention it. The character just happens to be young, female, and black. We're never going to mention even in the show. It's never going to bring up the fact that she's young or female or black in a Star Wars universe. It's not a part of it at all. Like, not at all. So, like, there's that whole thing. Like, this whole notion that the show is bad because it pushes a woke. There's literally zero messaging in the movie. Zero messaging in the show. And then other people would say to me, well, yeah, but then the writing is bad because they're so focused on the woke stuff. It's like they think, like the producer comes in, how's this scene coming? Oh, I'm stuck because I'm just so focused on how, how we make sure we write this, that she's a black girl. I'm so what are you talking about? We're not even going to mention, she's just a character. Move on. The writing is bad because the writing is bad. The writers wouldn't have written a great script if May and Osha happened to be, who's some young kid actor today? I don't know. But some young white male kid.
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet. Yes. If Osha and May had been Oshu and Mark, doesn't change a thing. This show would still be just as bad because they have bad writing and bad dialogue and a bad character. They follow no sense of logic whatsoever. If the witches were all guys, there were warlocks, okay, a coven of warlocks, right? doesn't change how bad this show is. Not one thing is improved in this show if you take any of that out of it. So it's just a terrible show. It's just a badly written, badly done show, and I'm one of those people who tapped out of it. Chances for season 2? None. No chance for a season 2. People are bailing on it. It's just a badly written show, badly done show that does not really deserve our attention, unfortunately. Hey, listen, and if you're watching the show and you're liking it, I'm not trying to rain on your parade. If you like it, I love that you like it. I'm jealous that you like it because I wish I did too. But in my opinion, it's a pretty horrible show. Anyway, what's next?
All right. Cody Hunt writes, QP Day 1 is akin to the first Cloverfield. It's a POV film. It doesn't really expand beyond the 2 main characters of the film. There isn't a lot of world building. As a film, I don't mind the approach. As part of the franchise, it leaves much to be desired.
Sure, but I agree with you. But it comes down to this. Always evaluate a film on its own merits. So yes, I have criticisms for Quiet Place Day 1 in terms of the scope of its place in the franchise, what it does and does not do compared to the other 2 films. Sure, absolutely. But when you're evaluating a film, first and foremost, evaluate it on its own merits. And on its own merits, this was a tense, scary, and at times very touching movie that I thought had a beautiful and inevitable ending to it. So on its own, I think it's a very good film. And yeah, then where its place in the overall franchise, there's discussions to be had there, but a film in and of itself, I thought it was quite good. All right, what's next?
All right. Rob Buck writes, "Hey Friday crew, creating a new D&D character and thought it would be fun to ask you to give them a name, species, and class. All I can say is that he's going to have a southern accent. Thanks in advance."
I got to know a little bit more than that before. Okay, so
Do all the work.
Dredoc Indomitus, and he is a half-orc warrior. I'll go half-orc warrior. That's it. That's a little bit like your character was, wasn't it?
No, mine was a Goliath, and mine was.
Oh, that's right. Yours, but I would also, but with a southern accent, half-orc with a southern accent. Love it. Love it. Good luck with your game, man. I haven't played D&D in a while. I got to get back on that. All right, what's next?
Rob.
Where are we? Rob Buck? I think I just...
We just did that one.
Oh, sorry. That was
There
my
we
fault.
go. It's all right. All right. Jonathan Nimela, hopefully that was right, writes, "Hello, John. Have you seen Poor Things yet?
Oh, ages ago. We talked about it already.
Are looking forward, Emma Stone and a new movie, Kinds of Kindness, out this weekend. What is your favorite Yorgos Lanthimos film?
Yeah, I think it's Lanthimos.
Lanthimos films. What's your favorite Emma Stone films?
Loved Poor Things. Absolutely thought it deserved a Best Picture nomination. Thought it was fantastic. I have zero interest in Kinds of Kindness, again, because like Horizon, they didn't bother to tell me what the movie was about in their marketing. It's just like, oh, look at Emma Stone doing this, and look, there's a car driving into this, and it's like, okay, but what's your movie about? If you can't be bothered to tell me what your movie's about, it doesn't matter how much I loved Poor Things, because it's great. Poor Things was wonderful, but I don't care. If you can't be bothered to tell me what this movie's about, why should I bother to plan my evening to go see it? So no interest in seeing it.
There was a newer trailer that I saw that was on TV, and it actually kind of explained a little bit more, but I'm still lost. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like more trailers are doing the Jordan Peele route of just like, what is this about? And you never know until you watch the movie. I don't know if that works, but I feel like that's what's happening.
But like even with Jordan Peele, when you go back to Nope, right? Like, or not Nope, Get Out.
Get Out, yeah.
I thought it did a very good job. Like I thought the marketing for that did a very good job of giving me, I mean, I didn't know what I was in for, but I understood the basic premise of the story. Same was true for Us, whether it's called Us or US, whatever. I think it's called Us. Again, I didn't know everything we were in store for in that movie, but I thought the movie did a pretty good job setting up a basic idea about what we were in for. Even to a degree, Nope. I didn't like Nope all that much, to be honest with you, but I felt like I kind of got an idea. Like literally with Kinds of Kindness, I have no idea what that movie's about. I haven't got the slightest clue what's going on in that movie. So now I'm not going to go see it. All right, what's next?
Leaf Needs to Win writes, have you listened to the Office Ladies podcast?
Yes.
It's hosted by Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey and is a must listen for any Office fan. They speak to a lot of people who worked on the show and provide tons of insight and behind the scenes about each episode.
Yeah, we've talked about it on our show before. Granted, it's been a while, but yeah, they're best friends in real life. And it's delightful. It's, there's a couple of old cast members that have an Office podcast, including the guy who plays Kevin. Which is, and you know what? But yes, The Office Ladies is a wonderful. I haven't heard the whole series yet, but it's a really wonderful podcast. I enjoyed it a lot. I love Jenna Fisher. A lot of people forget Jenna Fisher was married to James Gunn. And they're still actually like besties, like still on each other's birthdays. Like they post these big social media messages to each other on their birthdays and blah, 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 which is always nice to see for a divorced couple. All right. What's next?
Say My Name writes, Quiet Day Part 1. The tension throughout the film, wondering the ultimate question. Was the cat going to meow? How can that cat be so quiet, yet the girl behind me felt the need to continuously scrape her drinking straw in and out the plastic lid?
I hate that.
That's what I realized while watching this movie. A lot of it's really quiet. So I was like...
Well, so are the other Quiet Place movies.
Yeah. So even like rustling through my chocolate, whatever, I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that because it's so quiet.
I know, like things you do in a movie normally that are totally fine, in a movie that is often as dead quiet as these movies are,
you hear everything.
It becomes a bit distracting. Like I'm eating
everything.
popcorn and Anne started looking at me like she was going to rip my head off. I'm like, I look over and Anne's like, I was like, what? What's wrong? I'm seeing my popcorn.
So if you ever wanted to fart during a movie, this
is not the one to do it in.
No, this is the one to do it. Especially if it's a real good one.
Oh my God.
All right, let's keep going. What's
moving
next?
on quickly.
All right. Logan Vaughn writes, in The Boys, I'm sensing Homelander is growing a bit too jealous of his own son. What if he kills Ryan out of jealousy? Maybe he tries to make Ryan kill someone and Ryan refuses, so Homelander denounces him and kills him. Or maybe I'm misreading this.
I honestly think you're misleading it. Like, is he a little jealous as Ryan? Yeah, absolutely, right? Because he's getting something. But at the same time, I really do buy into the storyline that he's seeing his life now as about Ryan. Ryan is his legacy. Because remember, one of the great things they've done this season is that Homelander is becoming this guy who's been completely invincible his whole life. In last season, he got his ass handed to him a couple of times, and he's now aware that he's aging. He's like pulling out his gray hairs. He's like overhearing people talking about his wrinkles. Like he's now thinking about his own mortality. And I think he's really seeing himself of wanting to make Ryan now into his own image. I don't think ultimately Homelander kills Ryan. If anything, this will be one of those stories where I think even the most vile, evil, terrible thing like Homelander will do like maybe one good thing of their miserable lives. And that's, listen, even the most evil, real people in real life love their children. And so I think that might be the one kind of trace of humanity left in Homelander. Is that I think he actually loves his kid. All right, what's next?
All right. Your Name writes, if movies like Horizon had intermissions, movie theaters would make more money. During intermissions, when moviegoers return from bathroom breaks, they could safely get refills on their sodas, knowing bladders won't bust.
I've been saying this forever. I even put out an editorial video last year about how it is time for movie theaters to bring back the intermission. For movies that are like exceptionally long, like 2 hours and 40 minutes or longer, like for something like that, because it does a couple of things. One, as a moviegoer, it stops people from walking in front of me because they want to go out and get a refill of their popcorn or they need to run to the bathroom or stuff like that. In a 3-hour movie, that's going to happen. So it takes those distractions away. It allows the movie theaters to make more money with the concession stands and all that kind of stuff. It'll encourage people to keep their phones put away because, hey, in about 20 minutes, we're getting an intermission. I can pull up my phone then, check my phone. I think there are a world of benefits for reintroducing intermissions again for exceptionally long movies. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I hope they do.
Well, when we went to A Quiet Place, what I discovered is that the best thing is when the theater's empty. So I'm not going to day one movies anymore because I got the chance to do the double recliner. Double recliner because no one was sitting next to me. I just pulled the handle. And What? Come on, man. It was so comfortable. I was like laid out. Come on.
You slept through half of that movie.
Yeah, well, it was quiet.
Well, now you
And,
know
and,
why.
and because
It
it
was
was so
quiet.
quiet,
And you were reclined.
the whole
Double
fucking
re-
theater heard you snoring.
Oh, well, that's too bad for you.
They was like,
This is why we need intermission. Get a little nap in there.
A snoring place.
Double-
Day one.
a snoring place. All right, what's next?
Double recline.
I know,
Alright.
it's there, and then
Carlito Dennis writes, Team Campea, the day tickets went online for purchase. I explored the legit casting list for the film that early morning. Daphne Keane, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Blake Lively, and more were displayed, then taken down an hour late. Your thoughts?
I have no idea what we're talking
there's
about.
like
Yeah,
no.
I'm
I
very
think
confused.
the only thing I can think is that they're talking about IMDb, maybe.
But IMDb for what?
For what? Day
Yeah,
one?
there's like no context to that.
Day one.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're talking about. Are you
Lovely
talking about
cast names though, but
Deadpool?
I don't know.
Are-
Oh,
maybe.
it might
and then,
be,
yeah,
bro.
and then was removed.
But look, okay, look. Regardless of whatever movie you're talking about, here's the thing. I have said this 100 times. I'll say it again. IMDb is 100% take it to the bank accurate for movies that have already been in theaters. Like if you want to know some information about who was involved, who was in it, who was a producer, who was a writer, all that kind of stuff, for a movie that has already come out in theaters, IMDb is the place to go. It is not for movies that have not come out yet. It is too easily changed by people and all that kind of stuff. Fake stuff gets put up all the time. Never count on or go to IMDb for what you need to be reliable information for a movie that has not yet come out. Because wrong stuff gets put up there all the time. All right, what's next?
Jason T.
All right, Jason T writes, to me, I feel Simon Pegg gave one of his best performances he's ever done in episode 5 of The Boys, Bring on the Filthy.
I 100% agree. It was, even though it's short and only in an episode, the performance was incredible. This is the best compliment you can give any performance. It made me feel. And his performance made me feel. And kudos to him, and I'm going to miss him in the series. All right, we only got time for a few more here. What's next?
All right. Drew Gretsch.
Chris Cinema. Sorry.
Casinema writes, I know you said you didn't like Legend of Korra overall, but I'm curious what you thought of the villain character Zahir from book 3. Personally, he's my favorite villain of the franchise.
It's been 3 years since I saw it, and I don't remember the villains' names. Are you talking about the one that broke out of prison? If so, that was a pretty cool character, but I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. Are you talking about the Bloodbender? If so, I don't remember the names of the characters because it was a pretty forgettable show to me. I don't get me wrong. I didn't hate it. Like I hate Ahsoka I do hate Ahsoka. But like the way I hate the Acolyte, but it just wasn't very good or very memorable to me. So I don't even remember the character. All right. What's next?
I think we have like 8 more. Drew.
All right. Drew Gretsch writes, do you think we could ever get a theatrically released film set in the Game of Thrones universe?
Yeah, I could totally see them someday doing like a full. Now, the trick will be audience are now totally getting accustomed to being able to watch Game of Thrones for free on TV.
Yeah.
Right? So that will be the big challenge. So they've got to have a hell of an idea for a movie. And it would be great if they did. It's an extremely popular IP, but you're also dealing with audiences that you're used to being able to watch it for free. So that'll be the but I think they could do it. All right. What's next?
All right, Hawk Tua. That's funny to read. All right, right. Top clear, classy move by the Montreal Canadiens to have Celine Dion announce their first pick at the NHL draft on Friday, especially after seeing those heartbreaking clips from the upcoming documentary. The disease she has is terrifying.
Have you guys seen any of those clips?
I haven't.
It's heartbreaking. They released a clip of her in the middle of a seizure, and her physical therapist and somebody in her family there trying to help her through the seizure. And it is devastating to see. It's devastating to see. And the fact that she's being so vulnerable, allowing that to be in a documentary about her, but it was powerful stuff. And yes, the classy move by the Montreal Canadiens. And I hope somehow, some way, there's some little thing of her in Deadpool 3. I really hope, because Ashes should have won the Academy Award for Best Song. It really should have won for Deadpool 2, at any rate. All right, what's next?
All right. Jade Newby writes, when I was 5, my dad took me to see Twister at a drive-in theater in Illinois during a tornado warning.
Oh my God.
Wow, they showed us where to take cover if we wanted to. Nobody did. High winds and hail made it a great 40X experience.
Yeah.
Nobody was hurt. Great memory.
I still remember, I went to go visit my buddy in Nashville who still lives there. And we went in to see a movie and came out and we could hear the air siren alarms. And I could see the green skies. And it's like tornado warnings. There's already been like 7 touchdown. And so we had to go back, and he had a shelter down in his basement, and a bunch of his neighbors came over. And that was the first time I ever had to sit out and wait out a tornado warning. That was pretty surreal. But it's kind of like the first time I saw A Perfect Storm, George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, was when I was on a cruise.
Oh, no.
We're on a cruise, and the movie they were showing in the theater was Perfect Storm. I thought, this is kind of ironic. All right, what's next?
Right. CR writes, agree with Ray's take on naming the app HBO, but including Discovery content. Average folks would think HBO is putting out 90 Day Fiancé, etc., and ruining the brand since that's the name.
That wouldn't happen. Sorry, it's a one of two. Keep reading.
Right there,
Yeah.
CR.
With people who think the Harry Potter show won't be on Max because it's being produced by HBO. Average folks don't care enough to know the difference. Maybe WBD should have kept a standalone HBO app. They did keep a Discovery Plus one.
Yeah, no, that won't be a problem at all, because it, much like Disney Plus, right, has different sections, right? They have a Nat Geo section. They have a Pixar section. They have a Star Wars section. They have a that whole bunch of subsections within the channel, right? Nobody confuses a National Geographic piece with a Star Wars piece. Nobody confuses it. Within the app, you can have your Discovery, and they have a whole bunch of different sections within it. So no one's going to confuse Property Brothers as an HBO original, right? No one will confuse that. It will absolutely 100% not be a problem. It already isn't a problem. Right. When I go in, and I do listen, I'm a sucker for these home improvement show things and whatever. I get a kick out of it. But when I see Fixer Upper with Chip and Joanna, I'm not confused that, wait a minute, are these the same people who are making the Penguin show? There's no confusion. It'll be perfectly fine.
We were just saying that's why I thought the HBO name shouldn't be in the new streaming service name if they changed the name. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing though. HBO is the most respected name in entertainment. They have historically made the best content. For you to have that name and not put it on your streaming network, I like, that's why when they named their streaming network Max, I made a big deal out of it. It's like, HBO is the most respected, revered name in entertainment. Why are you taking that out of the title? And now they're realizing it was a mistake, because now they're calling the upcoming Harry Potter series an HBO production, not a Max production. They're calling the upcoming, what was the other one? The Green Lantern series, an HBO original, not a Max original. It's still going to be on both of them. It's still going to be on all over the place, but they're doing that. And I believe that's a clear sign they're going to do what they should have done in the first place, which is put HBO in the title. They don't just call the streaming service HBO. I don't care. Call it HBO Plus, HBO Max, one of the old names.
Like, what
HBO
was wrong
Go.
with HBO Max? HBO Max lets you
Totally
know
worked.
it's HBO and other stuff.
Totally worked. Totally worked.
They felt it wasn't that they were evolving, because I went to the revealing of that it's going to be Max now. They were so
Oh, you were
pumped.
there for that.
Yeah, they were so pumped. They just knew that it was going to take them to the next level. Even the color changing it to this Disney blue is what I would call it. It looks just like Disney, that royal blue. They thought this was going to be a whole new era for them and for the new generation that they would.
Yeah,
like.
Zaslav even said it was their destiny.
Yeah, rendezvous with Destiny.
It's their
You know what?
rendezvous with Destiny. Come
This
on.
is show don't tell. You know how you show people you're in a rendezvous with Destiny? You show your content, and people are like, "This is incredible content."
Just call it the Axe.
Yeah,
The Axe.
There you
HBO
go.
Axe. All right, what's next?
Sponsored by Body Spray.
All right, Stubble McShave, that's funny. Writes, you talked about theatrical concert movies the other day. My favorite by far is the band's farewell concert, The Last Waltz, that was directed by Scorsese in 1976. It featured a number of guest performers that was part of their musical journey.
You know, I never did watch that. I had
I'm
a whole
shocked.
I think I remember people telling me about that, but I
Did you
never
know
did
about that,
watch it.
Jonathan?
Did you watch that one,
yeah.
Jonathan?
No, I love it. I've owned it for a long
Yeah,
time.
Oh, yeah,
always
you've
talked
talked
about
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I never did get around to watching that one. I should watch that, sit down and watch that one sometime. All right, what's next?
All right? Maybe a fanboy theory writes, speculating here. What do you think of the chance of a retcon in Deadpool and Wolverine where the 3 scar marks on Thanos' face actually comes from Wolverine? Dean W could jump through the portal to a scene before AIW to give Scar over under...
Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, I'm like, what are they?
Guys, don't write an acronym.
Infinity
Okay,
War.
the acronyms get me. All right, to give Scar over/under 50%.
100% zero.
Yeah.
It's absolute 100% zero. No chance of that. I still remember that was one of the funniest things back in the day. Like, because when we first got a glimpse of Thanos, everybody's saying, oh my God, he's got 3 scars in his face. That means Wolverine's going to be the next Avenger. Yeah, and no. No, zero chance that happens. Absolutely not going to do that. That would be ridiculous, and they won't do it.
I think they're
Zero
done with
chance.
Thanos. They're just done with Thanos.
I still think we'll see
Leave
Thanos
us,
pop up
Thanos.
here and there.
Maybe, but
But that whole thing, no, zero chance that happens. All right, what's next?
that's it.
That's it.
We done it.
And guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making this little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora,
Where would you stick it, John? Where would you stick it?
Jonathan Voico,
Hey, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Paris Rose.
Bye.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.
I really wanted to talk to us.